John 6:43. Apokrithe Jesus kai epen autois, me ganguzete met alelon. Here Jesus responds to this crowd that's grumbling after he said he's come down from heaven. They say, hey, we know his mother and father. How can he say he came down from heaven? Jesus answered and said to them, we notice this pleonastic or redundant style of introducing direct speech, very common in the Gospel of John. In fact, if you can read apokrithe kai epen, answered and said, then you can read a lot of verses in the Gospel of John. Apokrithe is from apokrinomai. Apokrinomai means to answer. As we write that out, we remember it is a middle-only verb. It's one of these verbs of reciprocity. You can't answer someone unless there's someone there to answer. It has to have two parties, and verbs like this that need two parties to be completed, and if you remove one, it can't happen. That's a verb of reciprocity. Verbs like that are often middle-only. This form here, you can see the augment here because this is a prepositional prefix, and then there's a theta, augment theta, bam! It's going to be an aorist passive indicative, and that's a third singular ending because the subject is third singular Jesus. Of course, even though it's passive in form, it's middle in sense, so it's a medial passive, a passive conveying a middle idea. Jesus answered and said, epen is second aorist of lego, to them, to this crowd. And as soon as we run into this may, we're expecting a non-indicative mood. We're not surprised that we have an imperative. Of course, this form could be indicative or imperative, but the may clarifies that it's an imperative. This is from the verb we saw up above, the onomatopoetic word, meaning the sound of it sort of coincides with the meaning of it, doesn't it? Ganguzo, it's kind of difficult to say. Ganguzo, to grumble. It sounds like grumbling. And Jesus says, don't grumble. Notice second person plural. So it's just present active imperative, second person plural. You may remember that the present imperative negated can mean stop doing something, but that's completely dependent on context. The context here, just above, these people were grumbling. So stop grumbling, stop murmuring, certainly is a defensible translation. Stop grumbling, stop murmuring with one another.